Hey everybody, how are you? I know you're like, I just saw her in that yellow shirt about an hour ago. It is me. I am back. I am Dr. Jerika Dodd, founder and CEO of Your Pharmacy Advocate and executive editor of Pharmacist Magazine. Have you seen my magazine? Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. This morning, I couldn't be more excited to have Mr. Howard Kaufman, who's a co-founder and CEO of ORL, Organic Oral Care. And let me tell you, so I got some of it sitting right here. Here's my breath spray right here. I didn't bring the toothpaste out. That's for later on this week. But I am so excited that I met Mr. Kaufman because it has been just an eye-opening experience for me. And then when he decided that ORL would be a sponsor of the Women in Pharmacy Nothing Held Back live virtual summit, I was like overjoyed. I said, Mr. Kaufman, I will brush my teeth on camera. And he was like, wait. Make sure that you like the product first. All right, so I want to introduce Mr. Howard Kaufman and have him tell you a little bit about himself. How did he even get into this business of toothpaste, mouthwash, breath spray? How did he do that? All right, take it away.
Dr. Jerika Dodd, thank you so much for inviting me. This is wonderful. It's an honor certainly to be here. And ORL, we just celebrated our third year anniversary, and it's definitely been a labor of love between myself and my business partners and the people involved in the company. And the long and the short is that I have a background. I've been in the healthy snack business, and prior to that, I had been in retail. Definitely in a totally different category, pet supplies. But I saw a tremendous growth 15 years ago of what was happening in pet supplies. And a major driver of the growth in that category was advancements in nutrition.
Yes.
Your dogs and cats are just living longer because they're eating better, right?
Yes.
And we've certainly seen that as humans, right? As consumers, there's definitely trends in terms of improving the types of food that we're eating, whether it's organics, whether it's superfoods, better nutrition. And our knowledge is becoming even more about that, right? So with all that, this real kind of like the crucible moment was in a grocery store just over 3 years ago, looking at, and actually for myself, I was looking for a different product, but I came across a big assortment of toothpaste and mouthwash and breath sprays. And I was so curious about the ingredients because a friend of mine who has a background in compound pharmacy actually had a conversation with me a few weeks earlier about harmful ingredients. And we were talking about trends that were occurring in the marketplace, whether it was health, fitness, food trends. And he just asked me a question. He said, hey, have you ever looked at oral care? And I'm like, oral care? No, why would I? I would have no reason to. Right. So when I was in that grocery aisle, it triggered that conversation I had with him 3 weeks earlier. And at eye level, there was a tube of toothpaste, a row standing. It was a children's toothpaste, a very well-known brand. And it caught my attention. And I just grabbed the tube off the shelf and I started looking at it, and it had all the design and colors and things that you would expect a major brand to have that would be attractive. I flipped it to the back to look at the ingredients. And even though at that moment I knew most of the ingredients would be a foreign language, but the lightning bolt was, as I'm looking at the ingredients, right above that list of ingredients is a warning label. And the warning label, not for children 6 years or under. If accidentally swallowed, get immediate medical attention, call poison control, and it listed poison control's phone number. Yeah. And that was the crucible moment of, I didn't understand why would a children's toothpaste, and I flipped it to the front to ask myself, did I miss where it said for ages 7 and over or 7 plus?
Yeah.
It didn't, and actually it doesn't. That product's still on the market. But that just triggered a chain of events to say, if that's in a children's toothpaste, what's in everything else on the market? And wound up taking the next couple of months researching as many individual SKUs of toothpaste and mouthwashes that I could find, going into Walgreens and Target and the top sellers on Amazon and Whole Foods. And from my previous experience coming back to the food world,
Hmm.
one authority that is known that would be referenced to determine whether an ingredient was safe or clean or not is actually operated by the National Institute of Health. And I told you, I know many of us are maybe exhausted hearing about it, but this was before the pandemic.
Hmm.
But they do operate a website called PubChem. That's PUBCHEM.com. You
Hmm.
may be familiar with it. If you're not familiar with it, anyone can go to pubchem.com, and in its search bar, you can put any food ingredient, cosmetic ingredient, and in this case, oral care ingredient in that search bar. And from the discovery of looking at it was 323 individual SKUs of toothpaste and mouthwashes were the first, call it net that we put out there. We discovered, according to PubChem, that there existed 121 harmful ingredients that
Wow.
people are using every day in their mouth, whether it's a toothpaste or a mouthwash. And that really was the beginning of ORL, where we started looking at opportunities of building a product line that only had organic and natural ingredients, did not include any of these harmful ingredients. And that was the beginning.
So I tell you what, so I heard a couple of things in what you said. And one of the things that I'm really grateful to hear is that for those, because there are some in the general public as well as healthcare professionals who will take the time to go to a website like PubChem and find out what's in what I'm using. I would say that, however, though, it also makes me think that many people take for granted that just because something is available and for sale, that it is safe, it is effective. And yes, I know that there are rules and regulations that are supposed to assure that, but we've heard the stories of chemicals that are unfortunately still allowed in our country that have been banned in other countries. And I don't know necessarily how all of those decisions are made, but one, I'm grateful that you shared the resource, that if there is someone with that inquiry, how they used to say inquiring minds want to know, that can take that inquiry and that inquiring mind and go and research, just turn the label over and look at what it is that they want, that's in their product, and they can do that research. But I'm also grateful to know that there are people, healthcare professionals, uh, business men and women who have that desire as well to provide that product, because unfortunately not everybody's going to go run and look up every ingredient either, because they make an assumption. So that's why when we were introduced, I was so excited about your product, because I told you that just recently I was in the dental aisle of a major, retail pharmacy, and I stood there. The people, I'm sure they've got, a camera and closer, and they probably thought, well, literally, she's not gonna like steal dental floss. So like, what is she doing? Because I was over there a long time looking at labels, and even as a healthcare practitioner, I knew enough, because like I said, I'm not necessarily in the dental space, but I knew enough to go, no, that doesn't look so good, especially when I started seeing ingredients like yellow or red, or that make things the colors that they are. I knew that, okay, that's not good. And even though you find those color additives, or what have you, towards the end of an ingredient list, they're still there. And I just knew enough to go, and so it was kind of, which one do you choose? Because I need to make a choice here. I'm not really fully informed or satisfied with what my options are. But that was because I had not met you. And I mean, literally, this is like a week before I met you. I'd not met you. And so one of the things that I was so excited to do was send you, I was like, I can send him the label off the toothpaste that I have been using. And I sent it to you. And I know you've got your screen where you can talk and give an example of the site that you mentioned. And I want to let's talk about, one of the ingredients that you saw in the product that I was using prior to ORL.
Absolutely. And the ingredient is sodium chloride. That's in the specific brand um, that you're using. And let me just share the
I
screen
was
here.
using.
Can you see that?
Not yet, but let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's keep working at it. It was there, and then okay. Now here it is. All right, so
Okay.
now we can see it.
So
Sodium
this,
chloride.
so this is PubChem, which is from the National Institute of Health, right?
Mhm.
National Library of Medicine. Sodium chloride. And according to PubChem, this one ingredient, which is in that, and the brand you shared is also, views itself as a healthier brand.
Alternative. Yeah.
Right. According to the research, this is an oxidizer. It's corrosive. Actually, too much of it is acute, toxic. It's considered a health hazard, and it's actually also considered not great for the environment. So you can see anyone can go to PubChem, type in the ingredient. In this case, it was sodium chloride. And then on the right, it breaks it down, basically the different chapters of the content. And if you go to the safety and hazard section, this goes into a little bit more detail about why this ingredient is not safe at all. And then below it, there's even additional links that get you more into the scientific information. So this is just one example.
Well, and I really do appreciate one that I could send you that so that we would have an example here, because I definitely believe that marketing is very, very powerful. You were talking before we live. You spoke a bit about how how packaging and colors and all of the things that make a product, when we're making a decision, that probably definitely don't necessarily follow logic, if you will, but that we go, oh, well, it looks good, it smells good, I've had this before, it tastes good, so it must be good for me. And then even I would even caution that even products that have a healthier identity, or seemingly a healthier identification, or a healthier identify as being a healthier brand, still worth checking out if there are ingredients. And I think that you found even more than one ingredient, because I think that you could always have someone that says, well, it's just that one thing, and it's just a little bit. But I think that you found multiple ingredients in the brand that I shared with you that I've been using. And I even think about just the accumulation of time. So if you brush your teeth 2 times a day, 365 days a year, that's a lot of exposure to a particular chemical in your mouth, in your mucous membranes, your tongue. And we know that our mucous membranes are going to absorb things, you know, instantly. It's why we put things under our tongue, because they can be absorbed faster.
Absolutely. And no, you make an excellent point. And I just want to point out, so much of this is personal choice.
Right.
And, we've done research. I gave you the example of someone that I know that uses a well-known brand of mouthwash, happens to have a harmful ingredient known as calcium disodium EDTA, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's in the mouthwash. And the feedback was, well, I just put this in my mouth once, maybe twice a day, 10, 15 seconds. I swish it, I spit it out. I don't see what the big deal is. I don't see why you're getting so excited about it. And by the way, this is coming from my 25-year-old son. Okay. It's like, Dad, I don't see why you're so into this. And I'm like, Seth, that's totally fine. All you're telling me is that, our brand isn't for you. I mean, we're really targeting the person who's trying to live a healthier, more active lifestyle, who is very concerned about ingredients that they're consuming beyond just their oral care, of course, with their food, right? And
Yeah.
it's really that consumer who's going to that health grocery store and is looking at all the ingredients before he or she are putting it in the shopping cart. That's
Right.
really who we're targeting. And then the other thing as a commitment we made as we built our brand was to ensure that we weren't including any of those harmful ingredients, which, by the way, we also published our findings of all the harmful ingredients we've discovered so far in the marketplace. And we also show the labels we looked at. And if any of those labels have that harmful ingredient, it's highlighted in red. And we are linking it back to the source, back to the pubchem.com, just so if that's of value to you, you can go find the research. But for us, once we learned all that and decided for sure we weren't going to include any of those harmful ingredients, the other thing that we were able to, and actually we worked in the beginning with a pharmacist, but we were able to establish our product at that perfect 7.0 pH balance. And that's really a differentiator with our brand. Our toothpaste, our mouthwash, the breath spray that you showed is all at that perfect pH balance. The science to show that, our diets are very acidic. I mean, even myself this morning, yes, that's iced coffee, right? Coffee, tea, sports nutrition, even healthier foods like strawberries, blueberries, they have a pH of about 3. And the science shows that the pH in your mouth falls below a 5.3, 5.2. It significantly increases the likelihood that the bad bacteria, the Streptococcus mutans, will start harvesting in your mouth. So the concept with our brand, by being able to lock in to that perfect 7.0 pH balance, is like a broken clock on the wall. It's going to be at least correct twice a day. That if you happen to use our product in the morning and the evening, at least twice a day, you're raising the pH level in your mouth, hopefully towards perfect, but at least above that 5.3, which significantly reduces the likelihood that the bad bacteria starts forming, which causes bad breath, gingivitis, can lead to other oral care issues. And as many of you know, so much of your overall health starts with your mouth. So that's really the concept behind the brand.
The last things that you said, definitely, especially when you started with the 25-year-old review of the product. And, I might have said the same thing when I was 25. However, I think that we can both attest to that there comes a certain age that we become. And for me, I definitely believe that things really changed when I turned 40. And I believe that for most individuals, once you've been on this earth about 40 years or so, you start to have the results of an accumulation of a lot of things that we've been exposed to, a lot of chemicals, a lot of things that you don't think about when you're younger. So like I said, at 25, I might have said the same thing to you, even though I was already a pharmacist at that age. Nonetheless, at the age that I am now, where it's like I am more cognizant of the things that I'm ingesting, the chemicals, I do turn around and look at labels more, because I never knew what a functional medicine practitioner was until I sought one out several years ago, back in 2014, because what I realized was that we could not get to the bottom. Conventional allopathic medicine could not get to the bottom of what was going on, and I was looking for help. So I sought a functional medicine practitioner. And so when they start doing hair mineral analysis and things to check the things that we've been exposed to, the endocrine disruptors and all the other things, I never knew anything about those when I was going through pharmacy school or at a younger age. But I tell you what, I pay attention to those things now. So as my father used to say to me, just keep living. Because I believe that those things will become part of more people's vocabulary, thought process, especially as we age.
Couldn't agree more. And I think also having more access to more information,
yes,
which always has a double-edged sword, but at least we're becoming more educated. And then also longevity too. People are at least trying to live longer.
Right.
So with that too, quality of life, making sure that we're making better choices, right? Because we're learning just so much of things. I do have another example, which I know is not going to be a surprise to anyone watching this, but there's a harmful ingredient that more brands are eliminating it, but you can still find it out there. and it's simply known as sodium lauryl sulfate,
Oh
also
yeah.
known as SLS.
Hmm.
It's actually chemically, it's a detergent.
Yes.
And the only benefit sodium lauryl sulfate provides in a toothpaste is that foaming sensation. That's all it is.
Yep.
So that to me was like, hey, that's an easy ingredient. There's no benefit other than the consumer having a sensation of something foaming.
Right.
But if it's really harmful to one's health, why would you include it? It's like I'd rather err on, okay, so you create a product that doesn't foam, but
Right.
if it's better for you, let's just move ahead and know that we did something that's trying to improve someone's use of a product that they use every day.
Well, and it's interesting. So as you and I have talked, and I have learned so much, and even been focusing on so much on oral care, and even looking deeper into my own products that I've been using, because they say when you know better, you do better. So this
There
has
you go.
been an amazing journey for me. One of the things that I thought about when we talked about sodium lauryl sulfate was the reason that we expect it is because that's what we've been told to expect. So from little children brushing their teeth, you see it foam, you feel it foam. And so one of the things that I say in coaching with my coaching clients is oftentimes we don't think about what we think about. We don't question what we think. It's kind of what we've always thought. And we just think that because that's what we've always done. That's how it always has been. And so when I thought about that conversation we had about sodium lauryl sulfate, I was like, the only reason we expect things from toothpaste to even hand soap or what have you to lather up is because that's what we were told or told we were expected to expect. And so if we get a toothpaste, or I'll say, example, hand soap that doesn't lather up, then we assume there's something wrong because we've always expect that's how it's supposed to be, right? We've never questioned, well, why is that? And so I love that conversation that we had about that particular ingredient, and only specifically because it's made, or it's included in products to make it lather. That's it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's better.
Exactly. And that's just part of the education to your point about how we become conditioned, right? So it becomes a habit. And as you know, for overall wellness and living healthier, a big challenge for many of us is also changing the habit.
Right. Right. Yes. And I want to take a moment to show we got a comment from Marsha Reese, who we both definitely have in common. She said to us both, thank you for an excellent, informative interview. We love ORL Care products and do our best to stay healthy and as chemical free as possible. And I totally agree. Thank you, Marsha, for tuning in and for sending us that message. And I know that there will definitely be others, which is why I wanted the opportunity for us to go live, because there will be others that will see this after the fact. And I want to make sure that we put up some information. Number one, I've got 2 websites. So if you will, talk to us about the difference in the products. I know there's an ORL and then there's an ORL with CBD. And so I have a website for each. The code is the same. If anybody's watching this after the fact, what have you, if you put in Dr. J. Dot as the code, you can get 25% off, and definitely try this product. So I'll put that up while you talk a little bit about the differences.
Sure. And I'd be remiss. I do appreciate Marsha's feedback. And, she's in her company, Stay Well, another
Yes.
great example of just all the harmful ingredients that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
But we're privileged. We do operate 2 websites. It has to do with previous Facebook marketing, but orlcares.com carries our product line. We have 3 basic flavor profiles. Our toothpaste and mouthwashes come in fresh mint, which is a blend of peppermint, wintergreen, and spearmint.
Okay.
Cinnamon, which is a blend of cinnamon, vanilla, and mint.
Mm-hmm.
And then we actually formulated bubble gum for
Mm-hmm.
kids, but also there's adults who've adopted it who really don't like mint or they just prefer the bubblegum flavor. So
Mm-hmm.
that can be found at orlcares.com. And then along the way, as we were formulating, we also created a line of product that has full spectrum CBD oil. And this was really the encouragement of one of our advisors, who's a periodontist, and shared with us there's actually research about how full spectrum CBD oil can help with gum irritation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some research out there that even shows those that have chronic or ongoing jawbone loss, and many people who, for example, have had wisdom teeth extracted,
Mm-hmm.
say over 10 years ago or longer, there's a
Mm-hmm.
good possibility if you went to an oral surgeon when you had those wisdom teeth extracted,
Mm-hmm.
that more bone mass was extracted along with the tooth than if
Wow.
you went for that same procedure today, just with advancements in technology and procedure. Over time, that can become a degenerative issue with some people
Right.
with deep
Mm-hmm.
pockets in the back and
Yes.
ongoing jawbone erosion.
Hmm.
Well, CBD oil may help those in terms of reducing that rate of erosion. In some cases, it's been shown that it may even stop the erosion.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly can't reverse it. Once it's lost, it's
Right.
lost.
Lost.
So we developed a line of toothpaste, mouthwash, and breath spray with full spectrum CBD oil.
Yeah.
And that product can be found at orlcbd.com. And actually, the rest of our products for your convenience can also be ordered there too. But that's why we've got a version of our product with full spectrum CBD oil and without CBD oil.
Okay, I have to admit this to you because I don't think I told you this when we connected after I was able to try the product. So, of course, like most people, I took it out of the box and I was ready to try it. I did not read any instructions. I was just so excited, like, a kid on Christmas. And so I was trying to pull this top. But I
Yeah,
learned that it's so simple. All you do is
it's a
literally
twist,
turn
right?
it. And I was like, okay, he is going to laugh at me. Because if you could have seen me, I was like, I can't open it. But
No,
it
we need
is
to do a better job communicating that. That's happened a couple of times before. We've gotten that feedback.
It
Uh,
is so simple to just turn and use it and then turn it back, turn that dispenser back down and
yeah,
drop it in my purse. And so I love, love, love this. And it has a good flavor too. So I just wanted to tell you that, oh my gosh, you would have been like, what is she doing? Because I was so excited to dive into, sampling the products. But I love this. This is amazing.
yeah.
So,
And the other thing too, just to bring up real quick, Dr. Jerica, is I know we all went through the pandemic. We were wearing masks. We did discover a lot of people would get that mask breath or mask mouth. And our
mhm,
product, because of the pH balance and the xylitol, along with the essential oils that we use,
mhm,
people that have serious dry mouth issues, many people, again, I'd be, it would be disingenuous if I said, oh, yeah, our product can help anyone who's got dry mouth. But many
mhm,
people who've got dry mouth or xerostomia, and they have found that our product can help with that condition too. Just keep that mouth moist and keep the breath fresh and the pH balance going throughout the day. That
mhm.
was really the thinking behind the breath spray. So in between brushings, when you're on the go, you're in the car, as you said, it's in your purse,
Mhm.
could be in your backpack, gym bag, wherever. That was really the thinking behind it.
Right. And I mean, even as, I think everybody's hesitant to say that we are no longer in a pandemic. I'm not sure if we can say that yet, but I think that, we still find some circumstances where people are still wearing masks, either, out of necessity or out of precaution. And so I think that that's a wonderful point that you made, that it's really good for people who have or choose to wear masks to keep that in their pocket. And I think that's a great thing. So we have another comment from Marcia, who's still tuning in with us. She says the ORL care breath spray is my very, very favorite. So thank you, Marsha. We love that. I'm not sure who this is, but somebody says when they think CBD, they instantaneously think Jamaica. All right. And then we have another, we'll be able to see who these people are on LinkedIn when we get back. They're coming from LinkedIn. And someone said, "Hi, Dr. Dodd. I'm excited to meet your sponsors later this week." So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's a great segue, if I may, to talk about the Nothing Held Back live virtual summit,
And
because that,
Dr. Go
yes,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, I don't want to. Well, I guess I am interrupting only from that standpoint. That comment, they think of Jamaica, which is great, which is great thoughts about Jamaica. There's wonderful things about Jamaica. I've been there, but I just want to also clarify that our CBD, it's domestically grown and it's natively grown organically, and is actually from the state of Nevada, and our
Okay.
products manufactured in the state of Arizona. So I
Yes.
just wanted to make sure that,
Thank
especially with
you.
CBD, there's a lot of different CBDs out
Company.
there. This
Yes.
is not any type of foreign substance. It is domestically, organically grown in the United States.
Yes. So thank you for clarifying that. And the reason that we even were introduced and how we got connected to each other was surrounding the upcoming event that is happening. And I'll definitely go ahead and put that banner up so that we make sure that the reason people know that we even got together to say, "Hey, how can we support each other?" was for the Women in Pharmacy Nothing Held Back virtual summit that's coming up this week. I can't believe it's already Monday, and this summit is going to kick off live on Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So whatever time zone you're in, you could just kind of subtract and do the math. And I'm so excited because one of the things that I wanted to do was have the vast array of sponsors that you have seen me share and continue to share throughout the rest of this week, vast array of sponsors who are going to be in the room for those who purchase a VIP attendee ticket. They're going to be able to ask the sponsors. Howard Kaufman is going to be right there in that virtual room, and you can ask him. Maybe you have an idea for a product. He's got product development from concept to product, finished product. He can talk to you about some of the challenges or things to consider. And so it's an opportunity for those who have a product idea or those who are interested in maybe something similar to something they see that our sponsors are involved in. And he'll be right there in the room. Like, you don't have to try to get on his calendar. He'll be right there, and you can come and ask him and questions of the other sponsors of this event. And that was one of the things that I endeavored to do, was to be able to provide an experience for the attendee to this conference. I wanted sponsors that could share expertise, as well as maybe put a nice little goodie in the swag bag for them, because I mean, who doesn't like to receive a gift? And so for those who are attending the conference, I know I put up some discount codes and all of that. We've got something even more special for you. So don't worry, those who are attending the conference, we have you, and your promotion or your benefit or your gift is going to be one that's well worth being a part of this conference for. So I thank you for your collaboration. Very quickly we met, and someone thought of the two of us and said, "You two need to meet." So I'm grateful to Marsha Reese for connecting us, because I do think that pharmacists need to hear about ORL, because as pharmacists, as the profession of pharmacy changes, and pharmacists are starting more than ever to go down an entrepreneurial route. They are, some even, I've got definitely friends who have their own independent pharmacies. Some pharmacists are turning to become consultants and working directly with patients, or they're partnering with doctors' offices. And so one of the things that I encourage pharmacists to do is, one, look for additional products and service lines that they can offer to their patients to become even more of a resource. We're already, I feel, and America's most trusted healthcare professional, but being able to share with patients additional options, additional alternatives, because most of us, in the grand scheme of things, don't necessarily equate always, like you spoke about earlier, don't equate personal care products with our health and our longevity and our livelihood. So, in that regard, that was one of the reasons why I was like, this is a great match because one, I wanted my pharmacy attendees to understand that there's more than what you're providing in looking at people's medications and looking for, all the things that pharmacists do, but also being able to support patients in other aspects of their healthcare journey. That's why this was important for ORL to be a part of this.
Sounds like it's going to be an exciting event. It's going to be a terrific summit. We look forward to supporting and participating. And yeah, we're excited. There's a number of pharmacies across the country that we're privileged to serve, and it's been great. So kudos to everyone who's going to be involved towards the end of the week, and it's going to be exciting.
All right. Well, Howard Kaufman, thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you for taking a look at Women in Pharmacy, Nothing Held Back, and saying, yes, we want to be a part of that. I look forward to continued collaboration, looking forward to the VIP coffee event this Friday morning. And for those of you who have not gotten your tickets yet, let me just say this. RSVPing on LinkedIn is not the equivalent of buying your ticket and being in the room. So let's be clear. You want to make sure that you get your ticket so that we can have your information. We can get everything to you so that you are ready for day one of the conference. It's going to be great. And I'm just excited for the sponsors, for the learning, for the breakthroughs that the Women in Pharmacy and a few good men are going to have. So thank you again, Howard. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you a little later this week.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care.